But what's really excited and why I'm here today is that there's a territory that's virtually untouched. I live in the high desert, so this is kind of like a desert when it comes to leadership analytics that would catch the attention of CEOs because they had rich modeling. You use the information to come up with metrics that would tell the CEO how the organization is doing in increasing leadership capability and building and sustaining the business.
Well, I was pretty shocked. I thought to myself, wow, if I could only depend on my CFO to have 20 or 30% of the information that was provided to be useful for running the company, that would really get my attention. And then I thought, you know, the CEO, some of this is on us. We've got to ask HR what it is that they can provide us that actually provides for better business outcomes. I'm not interested in how many times a week I talk to any particular discipline. It's what I get from them in order to run the company that matters. And I will say this is that when you're a CEO, and this, I can only tell you this in a very short amount of time, you have to deal with wildly different situations that have very high impact in microseconds. You better have the knowledge of what your teams are capable of doing right at the forefront of your mind. If you're only looking at 10 to 20% of the input as useful, it's not going to work. So we knew we had to change from technology push to customer pull. We embarked upon that journey, and it took us 2 years. I will tell you this, we took a business that had been running at about mid 15% profit, and we moved it to 23. The thing is, it took us 2 years. It took us 2 years. And what I can tell you is the mindset difference that is required, the sales process difference, the research and development difference, the way that you run a business difference. When you have a customer pull versus technology push, everything changes. If we had had the Rejuvi tool, we would have known what our teams were capable of doing. You don't ask your research and development people to be good sustainers. You want them to be builders. But you want your customer relationship people to be good at both, building and sustaining. And we didn't know which leaders we had were successful. In the end, it all worked. But it worked because I had 20 years of experience in business, and I sensed these things, but it took us time. And I will tell you this, you don't very often have 2 years to turn around a multi-billion-dollar business. It worked for us. I think with the tools that Rejuvi now offers, it would have taken a markedly shorter period of time.
So what this reminds me with is I had a friendship with an older man who was a navigator in the Second World War. And I was astonished when he showed me his tools. What he had to navigate by the stars were these tools and a slide rule. I mean, I had learned a slide rule a long time ago. And that's what he and other navigators used to successfully fly over enemy territory. Well, of course, in time, there were electronics that outperformed and were much, much easier. So that's kind of how I feel. We were navigating by the stars. I think we did well. There were good outcomes, but we didn't have the tool set, the modeling, the ability to get the feedback information, process it, IPO highway, and then be able to track, well, if we did this here, what's going on from a business outcome. So if we had had that kind of tool set, we would have had proof. I would have had proof of concept, and we probably could have moved faster. And I think it would have been easier on the sales leadership because this was really a whole new world for them. So if we could give them the ability to change in a way that they understood how they needed to change and what they needed to do, it would have been easier on them.
Now, what I will tell you is that for the CEO, one of the things that is the most impactful, I can tell you, you will be thinking about one thing and have to, in a microsecond, move to something completely different and be effective and make good decisions in both cases. Do you want bad data at those times? I tell you, you better not have it. So you have to know who to trust, and the people that you trust are people that come to you with data that you can depend upon based on judgment, experience, and doing it over and over again. Those are the people that are winners every single day. And that's exactly who we can be in the leadership development space. One of the things I love about the Rejuvi process is that it's not process focused, it's outcome focused. And that's the whole core of how it was developed, is to, yes, we have these practices, we have these capabilities that we develop, but it has to turn into a business outcome. That's, if you ever want to get a salesperson's attention, it's teach them how to succeed.
People are really, dying, not really dying, to have great leadership to drive the business, and they know what's important. And so they haven't had anything that they can reliably depend on to assess people and develop them. So, if you don't look up, if you try to drive it based on what you know or what you think, that just won't work. So look up.